first glance, Catullus 13 seems like an innocent dinner invitation to Catullus's dear friend Fabolus. Dinner parties in classical Rome were quite social events, hosted mainly by those in high society who provided lavish food and entertainment. It was custom for those such as Catullus, who were skilled in verse, to write their invitations out in meter. It is apparent from the first few lines, however, that Catullus did not intend for this poem to be taken seriously. In 3 separate instances, Catullus employs what is known as paraprostokion, or contrary to exception. According to James J. Helm, paraprostokion depends on the ability of the humorist to lead the expectations of the audience in a definite direction and then to reverse them abruptly. What makes jokes such as these so funny is the abruptness of the reversal. Often, it is just a single word that causes this change in direction. The 3 instances of paraprostokion take place in 3 different parts of the poem. In the first few lines, Catullus tells Fabolus that he will dine well only if he brings something good, bonum, and great, magnum. The noun that these adjectives describe is introduced later, in line 4. This is Fabolus's first surprise, the canam. The meal is not free, as one may expect from a dinner invitation. In fact, Fabolus has to provide it, along with the wine, wit, and laughter. The enjambment of canam after the adjectives that describe it further intensifies the feeling of surprise and hilarity. Later in the poem, Catullus uses paraprostokion again to justify the first instance. He describes his saculus, or little bag, being plenus, full. The bag is, however, full of spider webs, aranearum. This, according to Helm, overturns completely the sense of full and makes this image funny. The last instance of paraprostokion occurs in the last line of the poem. Catullus tries to justify the fact that Fabolus has to provide the meal by offering him perfume that the gods gave to Lesbia. Catullus promises that this wonderful perfume will stimulate him so much that he will beg the gods to make him totum nasum, or all-nose. Fabolus was, according to Helm, totally unprepared for the absurdity of nasum, and the poet has once more succeeded in disappointing him. These 3 instances of paraprostokion establish the main components of the poem's structure: the invitation from lines 1 through 6, the explanation from lines 7 through 8, and the recompense from lines 9 through 14. Even the 3 words that cause paraprostokion, canam, aranearum, and nasum, are at essential parts of the 3 sections. The former is placed at the exact middle of its section, while the latter 2 words are at the exact ends of their sections. The explanation section of the poem serves as the middle ground between 2 parallel sections and gives the poem a sort of balance. Repeated words such as the vocative fabulae in lines 1 and 14, references to the gods in lines 2 and 13, and the reference to a woman in lines 4 and 11 further structure the poem. According to Helm, the concentric structure of the poem complements the rather more linear progression of thought which is expressed in the 3 jokes. Because each of the 3 joke words is at an important part of each respective section, the jokes are highlighted even more. Catullus was not using this poem to insult his poor self or the high-class society in which he lives. It is just a light-hearted poem from one friend to another. I assume that Fabolus read this poem and laughed out loud. The English translation of Catullus 13 and the original Latin and hendecasyllabic meter are as follows. You will dine well, my Fabolus, at the house of me in a few days, if the gods favor you, if you bring with you a good and great dinner, not without a fair-skinned girl, and wine and salt and laughter for all. If you bring these things, our charming one, you will dine well, for the little bag of your Catullus is full of spider webs. But you will receive in return my undiluted loves, or something that is more sweet and more elegant. For I will give you perfume, which Venuses and Cupids gave to my girlfriend, which when you smell, you will ask the gods that they make you, Fabolus, all-nose. Que nabis bene me fabul apud me, pauci si tibi difa vent diebus, si te Catullaris bonatque magnam, que nam non sine candida puella, et vi netzel et omnibus cacinis, haec sin Catullaris venuste noster, que nabis bene nam tui Catulli plenus saculus est aranearum, sed contra cipies meros amores, suquid suavius elegantius vest, nunquentum dabo quod meae puellae donarunt veneres cupidinesque, quod tu co facies Deos rogabis, totu te faciant fabulae nasum.